Anmol Sarah Sandhu. That's a mouthful. I'm from India, and I studied in a British boarding school there. And I went to another British college there. Both of them were Christian colleges, and that's where I got my schooling from. I come to the writing center to find help. Initially, I think it's not so much just about writing. It's also about help with your anxiety while you're writing. There's so many new things that are different in the two different continents. The way of writing is different, the structure is different, and there are these new ways that you have to learn, and you have to learn fast. And I think the Writing Center helps so much in supporting you and making that process faster. Writing was primarily taught by dictation. We used to have these lessons in the week that were dedicated to dictation, and they would dictate a piece, a poem, or a composition, or an article, and we would write it down. Then our classes were divided in English literature and English grammar, and so in our grammar lessons we used to talk about grammar topics and do exercises, group exercises, and that's how we learned how to write and how to speak in English, because that's not our first language, so that was also something that we had to learn. This is interesting because the longer sentences you made were more appreciated, because that would be that you had a greater command over the language. Whereas here you have to make shorter sentences, they have to be concise, and you have to get your point through. We were recommended to make flowery sentences and make our argument as flowery as possible, beat around the bush as much as possible. And here you have to be to the point and you have to get your argument across. So that's something that is really different, and what we learned was vastly different. Citation and plagiarism was not a big deal in my country, as long as there are different universities that believe different things. So where I went to study, they wanted us to at least write a bibliography with what all you've quoted, but there was no need of in-text citations whatsoever. But I know my friends who did business degrees or other degrees not pertaining to the liberal arts, they didn't even have to write a bibliography or cite at all. I remember one of my friends got detained for plagiarism once, but that was only because it was supposed to be published in a literary journal. But otherwise, in our academic assignments, there was no sort of caution about plagiarism. I think professors and coaches and writing coaches should know that it is at least that they should have a basic understanding that the way international students write is different, and the things that are intuitive to professors and writing coaches, because they've learned it all their lives, it takes time for international students to imbibe and get used to and to notice in their own writing. And so just be patient with them and maybe work with them, make charts with them, telling them this is what you do and this is how we want you to change it. That would be really helpful, because it's difficult for international students to find their mistakes and then correct them. So it would be good if there's a chart of directing them that way. And I would let them, they need to know that cultural differences also make a huge change in the way children perceive their professors or understand them or even try to communicate with them. And so I think a general guideline or a general knowledge of that would be really